Good afternoon.
After.
Good afternoon. Ashley, are you there?
Hi, Tanim. Yes, I'm
Hi.
on.
Okay, I'm gonna try and share now, okay? So can you just confirm if persons are seen?
Okay, sure.
Great, no problem.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you seeing my slides?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
Will the
then.
recording be shared with us after?
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. It will be shared on the same page. You saw the webinar page?
Yes, so our emails?
No, it more than likely will be shared via the webinar page.
Okay.
It's yes, a link was sent in your email. So the same email that you got.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah. So you'll see two links, one to the Zoom session and
Yes.
one to the webinar page.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Tanim, did you share?
Yes, I did. Let me share one more time. Sorry. Is it clear?
We are not seeing it right now.
You're not seeing it? Okay, let me share again. It's strange. All right.
Yes, there it is.
I'm gonna put it in presenter mode. Is everybody still seeing it clearly?
I am.
Yeah, okay, excellent.
Hi, could Galaxy A17 5G change their name? And could Antigua change their name as well? You can leave the country if you like, but if you can just put probably your first and last name, that should be fine.
Good day.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, all.
Okay, good afternoon to everybody in the room. Let me say welcome to everyone. First thing that I'm going to do a quick sound check. So please, can you indicate either in the chat or through the reaction whether you can hear me clearly? All right, I'm glad.
Hearing clearly.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Hearing clearly.
All right, great, thanks. And also that our screen share is working, so persons are seeing the slide on screen. Is that showing okay?
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect, yes.
All right, so let's go. Let's see if we can have a bit of a start. It's 6:03, and we want to keep this on schedule. We have a lot to talk about this afternoon. So just a couple of housekeeping matters, just some reminders. Please turn off your microphone. I know that most persons may either be at home or some persons may still be at work or some persons may still be commuting to home. So please turn off your mic. Second, feel free to ask your questions. There will be a dedicated question and answer section at the end. So in the interest of time, what I would invite you to do, you can either type your questions in the chat for now, or also you can write them down and then you can ask them with your mic open towards the question and answer session that we have in the end. All right. And let me start first of all by introducing myself and also allowing our facilitators to introduce themselves. I'm not sure if Selma is in already. I know she was having some technical difficulties. Are you there, Selma? Okay.
I am there, Clendon, just working out my camera now. So in the
All
meantime,
right, no problem. Well, in the meantime, I'll go first.
go ahead.
All right, great. Okay, so welcome everyone. I am Clendon Bissett. I am the technical specialist full stack developer at the OECS Commission's Education Development and Management Unit, EDMU, attached with the Pull unit. And I am tasked with, I'm a new member of the team, tasked with developing and facilitating the development of software applications and overseeing the maintenance and upgrade of existing platforms that the EDMU creates and operates. So my role is the lead software developer, part of the technical lead for a very small team. But as they say in some countries, we small but we Talawa, right? But in this case, we might be small Talawa, but we also are a little bit overworked. So I am Clendon Bissett. I will be your main facilitator for the day. We have with us, I'll be your host for the day, for the evening. We have with us two very capable curriculum support officers with the Pearl team. They have been doing some phenomenal work in their own countries. And I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. And I'll start with Tanil. Tanil, if you're camera able and camera ready, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi,
Your
good
mic.
afternoon. Sorry, I had to come up with the presentation. Good afternoon. My name is Sunil, and I'm the Curriculum Support Officer for St. Vincent and Grenadines, and I'm just happy to be here.
And finally, Selma. Selma, you're muted.
Oh, apologies. Good afternoon, everybody. I should say good evening. I am Selma Bissett, Curriculum Support Officer with the OECS Pearl from St. Lucia.
All right, thank you. So we're the team who's going to be with you this evening for our short webinar on the OECS Learning Hub. So today's agenda, we're going to be rolling through. And one of the first things we're going to start with, as a matter of fact, before I even do that, there may be some persons in the room who may not know what the OECS Learning Hub is about. I know that we have, when I was looking at the registration sheet, I saw that there were some persons that we even had from the secondary and lower secondary levels. And there were also some persons who were not actually teacher educators, but who decided to
Is Glendon still with us?
No, I think we lost him.
and he was found.
Hi, can
I'm not,
okay, yes. Okay, so
I'm not sure.
you have to restart from their educators who joined who
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Murphy's Law. Okay. I don't know what happened, but let's take it from there. So I was giving you a brief 30-second, a brief 30-second insight into what the OECS Learning Hub is. It's our custom-built and bespoke platform that was created as a transport for our new OECS Harmonized Primary Curriculum. In addition to that, it also has a suite of innovative tools which can be used by teachers, which can be used by homeschoolers, which can be used by even our students to be able to look at things like lesson planning, assessment design and administering through quizzes, etc. We could look at the analysis of your classroom data, such as your scores, etc., generation of rubrics, and so on and so on. So, in addition to being a transport, a vehicle for transporting our new digital OECS harmonized primary curriculum, also is a suite of tools. Today, we are going to be looking at two specific tools. As we go through our agenda, we're going to speak about our lesson planner, and also we're going to be talking about our lesson plan reviewer. So teachers who are actually using and or who are involved in the use of the OECS Harmonized Primary Curriculum will find these tools particularly useful because they're too tailored for that particular framework. So today we're going to start with considerations for planning effective lessons. Then we're going to move very briefly into a short look at effective AI prompting, which, as you will see, will be very useful for you being able to get better generations and better results from our lesson planner and lesson reviewer. So both of these tools are AI enabled, and using the AI in order to be able to get better generated results, we're going to be looking at effective AI prompting. You're going to see how to access the platform, and we're going to look at our updated lesson planner features because our platform has gone from strength to strength from start to now. And then we're also going to look at our lesson review functionality. Okay, and finally, we're going to have our questions, comments, and concerns, our Q&A section. All right, so Without further ado, I'm going to call on Selma Bissett, our first facilitator for the evening, to give us an 8 to 10 minute bite on consideration for planning effective lessons. Thank you, Selma. The floor is
Thank you,
yours.
Simon. Okay, so good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to say thank you so much for coming into this space and agreeing to sit and, have some kind of conversation with us. All right, so the tools that we're presenting to you this evening, they are focused on lesson planning, which is a major component for the effective delivery of the digital OECS harmonized primary curriculum. And I dare say for any curriculum that you are implementing. When you are planning, there are some key things that you would need to think about or that you should think about before you even start the process. And I want to say from the offset that lesson planning is not a linear activity. There are many points that a teacher can start their lesson planning from, but you must think about these 5 major things so that you can have developed relevant, engaging lessons for your students, right? So effective lessons, they basically are lessons where the goals are aligned to the curriculum, students are engaged, and students in the end meet their learning goals. All right. So what should you think about? And remember, there are no particular order. So first of all, you would look at your curriculum outcomes. All right. You need to think about which outcomes I am targeting for this lesson. So you need to select your curriculum outcomes that are aligned to the curriculum, the ELOs, the SEOs that are aligned to the curriculum that your country has adopted. Okay? From these ELOs and these SEOs, you need to now develop smart learning objectives for the lesson. And SMART, of course, most teachers would understand what that means. It means, let me see if I remember the SMART. It means, and if you want to type in the chat as you go, feel free. So they must be specific to the lesson. They must be measurable. At the end of whatever activity, lesson, whatever it is that you are doing, you should be able to determine whether the student has learned what it is you intended for them to learn, okay? They must be achievable. Too many times you see lesson plans that are loaded with objectives. It's like we want to accomplish everything in 1 or 2 lessons, okay? So you have to think about those things. And of course, they must be relevant and they must be time bound, okay? How much time do you have to teach these outcomes? Think about your learners. And I want to remind you again, you don't have to start from the outcomes. You can start with your learners. So you must know the students that you are planning for. Only the teacher in the classroom who is interacting with these students, the teacher knows them, their backgrounds, their learning styles. The gender is important, their special needs, and even physical needs. So for example, we know if you're teaching grade K, they would have more urgent need to go to the washroom as opposed to grade 6 students who can control their bladders more. Then have they had breakfast? What kind of home life do they have? Their backgrounds and experiences. If you have students who have never been to the beach, that can affect your lesson. And of course, the prerequisite knowledge and skills that they would need to successfully attain the outcomes that you intend for the lesson. Okay? The learning experiences. Okay? So a reflective teacher, a thoughtful teacher is going to think of what kind of experience do I need to give my students so that they can successfully attain these outcomes. All right? So you need to critically think of the activities that you are going to engage them in, the assessments that you're going to engage them in, what strategies. So if I do lecture, is that going to help them to succeed with the outcomes? If I engage them in a game, maybe an online game, is that going to help them to attain the outcome? What type of learning formats should they engage in? Okay, so we see teachers sometimes doing group work, and you're like, but this lesson, group work is not the best. Or you see a whole group session, and you would think, this would have worked better if they were in small groups. So the teachers need to think about these things. The fourth one, the learning environment. That look at your classroom. Am I going to do this lesson, or will this lesson work better in the class? Will it work outside the class? What time of day is that lesson? Because the way you will plan for a lesson in the first period is not the way you're going to plan for a lesson at the end of the day when students are tired. You're tired, okay? The lesson duration. How much time do you have for the lesson? Okay, if it's an outdoor activity, the lesson is brilliant, it's planned for outdoors, but you have construction going on at your school. Is it feasible to have the lesson in that environment? Okay, and lastly, your resources. Okay, so what do you need to make this lesson effective? Do you even have those materials and these resources? Okay, so ICT integration might be very relevant for today's world. It might enhance your lesson, but you have poor connectivity issues. So many times you go into the classroom and teachers want to use technology and they spend 10, 15 minutes trying to work out internet situations and these things. So think of what you have available to you and how you can use these things to help your students succeed. So these 5 things, your outcomes, your learning experiences, learning environment, resources, and most importantly, the learners who are in your care, in the space where you're going to do these lessons. So there are other things that you can think about, of course, when you're planning your lessons, but these are the major ones. And as we transition into using the technology, and teachers are using the AI and the technology to assist them, but the AI is a support system. The innovative tools on the hubs, they support tools for a teacher. They do not replace you. You have intimate knowledge of your learners, of what they know, what they can do, how far they can go. And I will end there and hand over to our host. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Selma. Thank you. And participants, you can think of this as a little bit of a primer because since one of the tools we're looking at is the lesson planner and another one is the lesson reviewer, and they are AI enabled. We don't want to overshadow the expertise of the teachers. We don't want to remove the fact that teachers are the experts in the room. The AI can be thought of as just a colleague. Now, there was one thing that we should have done before Selma came on. We have a mentee meter. My colleague and compatriot Ashley is on with us. I hope she's still on. Ashley, are you still there? We have a mentee meter, and I have to apologize to Ashley because Ashley is pretty much one of the pillars of what we do within the pool project. She's the one, most times making sure we remember a lot of the things we have to remember. Ashley, I don't know if you are camera ready or if you want to smile for the group so the participants can see who Ashley is. But if you're not, um, let me see if Ashley.
I'm right
Hi,
here.
Ashley.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us on this webinar. We're so happy to have over 200 of you. So thank you. Yes, Glendon, so over to you.
Yes, thank you so much. All right. So the mentee is up. Are we putting it up, Ashley? Or is Tanil has to stop sharing?
Glendon, the code was up earlier. It was
Oh, the code was up. Okay. All
yes.
right. Yes. Okay. So I'm
One
hoping that
second.
most persons have it and that you're able to put in your responses. What do you think of first when you are planning a lesson? It was supposed to have preempted what Selma spoke about, but I think it comes in a very timely spot before we transition. So continue putting in so we have some words there, time of the lesson or time consumption, materials. All right, I'm loving this. And method of delivery, activity, okay, objectives, assessment, okay. Now, all right. What interests, I saw something really interesting here. What interests my students? I think I saw, okay, student-centered. All right. Now, keeping these words in mind, somebody said in the chat, different types of learners, manipulatives. Okay. So keeping these in mind and considering everything that we're looking at now, I want to move now into my 10 minutes, my 10 minutes, I wouldn't call it a talk, but my 10-minute segment. And I'm making sure that I don't run over the time. So we're going to look at effective AI prompting. Now, why this? Why now? If the tools that we're using are AI enabled, I know a lot of us in here use ChatGPT. A lot of persons use Gemini. A lot of persons may use Claude. If you haven't used Claude as yet, Claude is also another LLM or large language model that's available for you to use. Now, a lot of persons use these, and they also will be using some of the tools within the OECS Learning Hub. Someone said schools AI as well. Very good. And with these tools and with the Learning Hub, as you will see in a while, you need to think of many times the tools that we're using as let's say, a substitute teacher or a colleague who's coming in to cover your class. If a colleague is coming in to cover your class, you then would have to brief them. You would tell them, well, they would know what grade, the subject area, what the students may already know, what the difficult ones need, how much time you had, what materials that you actually had for the students to be able to work with. And the more complete that briefing is, is the better they would perform, or the better the colleague would perform in the classroom, hopefully. So the more you assume that the colleague knows, is most likely the worse it might actually go. The AI in the platform that we're going to be demoing today is exactly that type of person. So it's very capable. It knows pedagogy. It knows curriculum theory. It knows assessment design and differentiation strategies, etc. It knows. But what it does know and what it cannot know unless you tell it is you, students, your classroom, your school context, the Caribbean region, etc. So next slide, please, Tania. So we're going to look very briefly at 5 key techniques that you can apply to your use of the Learning Hub. I'll say that first. And also to your use of any other AI. But because we're partial to our Learning Hub, well, our use of the Learning Hub and the AI in the Learning Hub, there are 5 key techniques that we're going to slide through really briefly before we look at the actual process of using the hub. And the first technique is and we have the 5 techniques are naming the destination, bringing context is number 2, setting your constraints is number 3, directing the lens is number 4, and iterate is number 5. So let's talk about naming the destination. Now, the principle here is that I always like to use this IT phrase, garbage in, garbage out. Vague input will produce generic output, and the AI will always respond to the specificity of your language, or how specific your language is. So if one area in the Learning Hub, in the generation of your lesson, asks for a topic, a weak answer would be just writing fractions. Now, I know the word topic may be misleading. You figure, okay, it's just a topic. But there will be areas or even when you're using artificial intelligence, where you would need to put in specific information, okay, of where you want to go. The topic field. The topic. If you read back what you typed, could the system actually describe a lesson for any teacher in any country or any grade, or would it be more specific to you? So naming the destination precisely is giving it where you want to go. So adding fractions with unlike denominators, using real-world examples relevant to the Eastern Caribbean for grade 4 students. So I've already covered equivalent fractions. So that is a stronger destination of where we want to go in terms of a topic. Let's go to technique number 2. Technique number 2, we can bring the context the AI cannot see. So the AI has no visibility into your classroom. And that reality is what you need to describe for it. So if you're asking it if you say include differentiation, okay, if in part of your prompt you say include differentiation as a technique, then that would be a weak inclusion. If, however, you say I have 28 students as context, 5 are reading below grade level, 2 are English language learners, English language learners, learning students. I think the ELL, I think the plus 1 is learners, who are recent arrivals from a Spanish-speaking country, and 3 are advanced learners who finish tasks early and need extension, frequently need extension. We all have those in our classes. So differentiation should address all 3 groups specifically. Just telling it differentiation would not be specific enough. You're differentiating for what? For whom? Let's go to the next one. Set your constraints. Now, constraints are not your limitations. When we say constraints, we're not talking about limitations. What they are still even more specifications. Telling the AI what is not useful to you is just as powerful as telling it what you need. So the AI, and trust me, anyone who's used the AI will know that AI is eternally helpful. It always wants to help. Sometimes it wants to help so much it will lie to you just to help you. So if you tell it, make this lesson practical because you want it to be useful in your classroom, uber useful in your classroom. You say, make this lesson practical. Practical to what extent? The lesson must only use materials available in a low resource classroom. Do we have technology? A lot of our schools don't operate in a very technology rich environment. No technology. Do you want printed worksheets? Is it talk and talk? Do we have a whiteboard? Do we have a projector? So specifying that. If you're listing activities in my lesson plan that you're generating, keep all the activities to under 10 minutes each. Those are your constraints. And constraints are not limitations. They are you telling the AI not just what you need, but what you don't need. Let's go still to technique number 4. Sorry. And then we also have and this one you can go back to Neil. This one you can actually the one after this one also. So right, there we go. So when we get to looking at our lesson reviewer, you will see that there is the ability for you to review your lesson plan using artificial intelligence. So you could actually keep a snapshot of this, and it will be in the recording, where you will see that providing a strong review instruction like this is just the same as setting your limitations as well. Okay, so don't just tell it to review my lesson plan. What are you reviewing it for? How much time do you have? What do you need it to review it for? Okay, so we go into the next technique, moving along quickly. I'm at 9 minutes. Direct the lens. You are the director. You are the movie director of your AI use. And it can evaluate from many professional and personal perspectives. You have to tell it which one to use. So if you're asking, let's go down to this one. Is this lesson good? You say instead, evaluate this lesson specifically for whether the assessment strategies align with the stated learning objectives. You don't say, help me improve this. You say, look at the introduction only if that's all you wanted it to look at. Okay, the principle behind this is that AI is not opinionated about what matters. It is a helper, and you are the professional. So you then would have to bring your professional lens to instruct it to use that same lens. And finally, to technique 5, we have iterate, don't start over. Iterate means that when, and I go back to persons using AI like Google, they ask it one question, it gives them an answer. Then they hit regenerate or they switch directions entirely. When you get output from the Learning Hub or even from any other AI, the output can be considered to be a draft. It's not cast in stone. So the AI, and I have that word there on purpose, the AI conversation is meant to be ongoing. Okay? So many persons will hit generate again, okay? And it then would give you a completely different plan. Whereas we have the Pearl feature in our Learning Hub, which can help you to iteratively refine your lesson rather than regenerating a whole new lesson again. You may potentially lose some good things from the first draft generation, if you decide to just discard it and roll onwards. So if it's a little weak, you can then go on and ask it again. Okay? So to sum up, our 5 techniques before we jump into getting onto the hub is naming your destination precisely. Bringing in the context the AI cannot see, student numbers, ability, available materials. Set your constraints, times, materials, format, what you need to avoid, what you don't want. Directing the lens, okay? Cultural relevance, spacing, assessment. You're setting the environment for what it's happening, for what is happening, and iterate and don't start over. So identify the one thing that is wrong, change that one thing, and keep everything else. So iteratively build. Now, with that in mind, I am now going to give you a brief demonstration for 3 minutes. Someone said go back to the previous slide, and then I'm going to have to share my screen. Okay. And all right. So I think I'm going to share now, Daniel. So let me do a share. And I hope everybody can see my screen. And to get onto the OECS Learning Hub, Control C. If in case there are some persons who, let me move this over here. So if there are some persons who are unaware of how to get onto the OECS Learning Hub, I just dropped the link in the chat. So it's oecslearninghub.org. Okay, one word, oecslearninghub.org. Our flyer pops up right now when you first access the hub and you haven't logged in. Now, very quickly, the Learning Hub, someone asked a question earlier about some of the tools. I will touch on that in the question and answer session. But first of all, you can go over to the login area. And once you click on login, this is what you're going to be faced with. Okay, so it does say welcome back, sign in. If you don't as yet have a username or a password, you have 2 options. Now I'm going to give you the preferred option for us. And the preferred option for us is that you go in with your sign up. You hit sign up at the bottom. Let me go back. So you hit in your profile. Now I'm going to just do that right quickly. I'm going to put in my first name. Okay, my test. I'm going to put in a name, and if we have any Johnson Fredericks in the room, apologies. So I'm going to put in my name. My email address is Johnson Frederick at, I put in a 7, I think it's Johnson Frederick 758 at gmail.com. I'm going to create password, and the password, I'm going to just create a dummy password, confirm. And then now you select your role. Now, this is particularly important for us because going forward on the Learning Hub, we will be able to provide role-based access to persons depending on what your role would be within your school or within your education sector. So if you're a teacher, you select teacher, and then you can select your country. I'm going to select St. Lucia, and then you can accept your terms of service. Now, providing I put in providing I put in my correct Gmail address here. I'm going to say create account, and it says registration successful. You can now log in with your email and password. So I'm going to say okay here, and I'm going to log in, and you're going to be able to sign in. Now, alternatively, okay, so it's going to direct you over to your dashboard. And in your dashboard, you're then going to see lesson plans, quizzes created, assignments, pending grading, kindergarten plans, and so on. So this is going to be your personalized dashboard. So that is my 5 minutes on how to get into the OECS Learning Hub. Now, at this point, I'm seeing the questions in the chat. We will address them. I'm going to now stop sharing. If you have any questions, you can always type it in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing so that Neil is going to be able to take us through the lesson planner. Now, some persons said that they usually sign in with their Google address. That's fine. You can go ahead and do that. But I'll give you a reason towards the end why we like persons to go through the profile creation process, and why it's more valuable for us. I'll show you in detail. So, Tanil, are you ready for us? You ready to share?
Yeah, Clendon, she dropped off and we've reached at maximum capacity. So,
Oh, wow.
yes. So I'm gonna drop off and see if she can join her.
Okay. Well, thank you,
I,
Ashley.
yeah, so I'll give you hosting.
All right. Thank you so much, and enjoy your evening. So let's just wait to see if we get Neil back, because our webinar was so successfully marketed that at last count, I saw that we had about 500 participants. So in the meantime, let me go to the questions. So does it have to be a Gmail account or any other type of email? It can be any other type of email. But if you use any other type of email, then you wouldn't have the Google login feature. Okay, so that definitely would be something that would be beneficial to you. Some teachers have their school domains, which are also Google Workspace email addresses. So that can also be used as well. So say if it's a Google Workspace, then you would be able to sign in with your school email address if if the way you access your school email is through Google. All right. Is the dashboard the same for all categories of users? Yes, it is the same. The only thing that would change are the numbers that you saw. Everything was showing 0 for Johnson Frederick because Johnson had not created any content as yet. Tanil, are you back?
Glendon, Ashley left, but two other persons joined. I'm gonna try to leave in to see if she's able. She said she still can't. So let's see what happens
Okay.
if I leave.
All right.
Glendon, I'm going to leave as well. So allow it.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. And if your colleagues are trying to get in and they're unable to get in, please don't fret. Tell them not to fret. The recording is going to be available, and I'll be providing the link as soon as it's ready. Okay. And let me go back to the questions. Can more insight be given to schools that are multi-grade for using the hub? Yes, for sure.
I'm here.
Definitely
I
going to
got
be.
through.
Hi,
uh,
Tanil, welcome back. You see, we're way too successful at marketing our webinar, so there's so many people trying to get in. So please do not drop off
Understand. So,
again.
yeah. Well, we have what you call it. It rained and the internet left. All right.
Okay.
So sorry. So let me just get my bearings and try to project.
Yeah, no problem. When you're ready, let me know. I'm just going through some of the questions. So the moment I see you start sharing, all right, here we go.
All right. Are you ready?
I think we are, yes. So take it
Okay.
away.
All right. So hello everyone again. Welcome to the OECS Learning Hub webinar series 2026. Like my colleagues would have mentioned, it is very heartwarming to see so many persons turn out. I'm going to be very honest with you. Usually by 6 o'clock, I'm turning into bed. So it's really good that so many persons have sacrificed the time to actually be here. It shows how much you are invested, not only in your own professional development, but in the development of our students, and that's excellent. So this session will be concentrated mostly on the innovative learning tools. In particular, two tools which I think are two of the key tools available on the hub, and that is the lesson planning tool and the lesson review tool. So by the end, it is our hope that you will know how to create effective lesson plans and how to review and refine them using the latest features. Now, I want to state that some persons may already be familiar with these features because they're currently using them. So just bear with us for a moment. All right. So, as a teacher, I've learned never to assume. And forgive me, I'm going to sound a bit redundant here. So, before we go into this session, I would like us to pause briefly to reflect on what we have learned thus far. We started off by discussing some planning considerations and then additional factors that come into play when utilizing AI tools for lesson planning. From this, we see that although AI, like other technologies, have been invented or designed to make life easier for us, in our case as educators, to simplify and streamline the lesson planning process, it is still crucial that our approach, remains intentional and guided by our professional expertise and judgment. And you would have heard both presenters before exclaiming this. So, to put it simply, the quality of the AI generated lesson plans relies heavily on the information and direction that we, the humans, provide. And so it is our responsibility, as Selma would have mentioned before, to thoughtfully shape the process, which, as you can see, requires some critical thinking and a lot of decision making on our path. So, as we explore the lesson planner and later the lesson review tool, we will see live and direct how our human influence is critical at every step. So I want to start off first by identifying the steps for the lesson planner, and then we would switch over and jump on over to the hub to actually do a walkthrough demonstration. All right. So, like I said, we're beginning with the lesson planner, and there are some crucial steps that you're required to do. The first one is login with your credentials, as Clendon would have noted, sorry. And once you have logged in, then you will head over to the Innovative Learning Tools, which is located right in your menu bar. And then you will select lesson planning. After you've selected lesson planning, you will be required now to input your lesson details. And this will include filling in some basic information, outlining your teaching strategy, and adding any additional details you think are important. When you're ready, you just click generate, and you will get a lesson plan generated or created by the AI lesson planner tool. Now, note that, like we said before, and we keep saying, we are not supposed to take the generated output as it is. In St. Vincent, we say lock, stock, and barrel. I think used in other Caribbean countries as well. After the lesson plan has been generated, you should take some time, take a moment to carefully review the product and make any edits or tweaks to fit your classroom context. And when you are satisfied, then you can either save your lesson plan to the Hub library or you can export and download it for printing or sharing with others. So now that we have identified the steps of the lesson planning, we're going to put this action and try it out together in real time. So please go ahead and scan the QR code available and it will take you directly to the OECS Learning Hub if you are already not on the Hub. Once you're in, I'm just going to ask you to please follow along with me as we move through each step. I also want you to take note that nothing can be generated without our active input. And remember that even when a lesson plan is produced, it should never be accepted as it is. Our review, adjustments, and professional insights are necessary to ensure that it meets the needs of not just our students, but our overall educational goals. So I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to switch over to the OECS Learning Hub. Can someone confirm that you are seeing my screen?
Yes, we are.
Yes, thank you. All right. So here we are at the OECS Learning Hub. And as mentioned before, the first step would be to log in, but I've already logged in. So we're going to go to the Innovative Tools, which is right here in your menu bar. So let's click on Innovative Tools. Now, you would see a whole host of different innovative tools, but today we are concentrating on the AI lesson planning. So we will click Create. Now, I know persons have mentioned this. Usually when you do open the lesson planner, it goes straight to the Pearl AI chat. So it will just take a bit, some scrolling up. And when you do scroll up, you would see where you have to input the details. All right, so we'll start with the basic info. Is everyone with me?
Yes, we're
Yeah.
with you.
Okay. All right. All right. So for those of us who started with this tool from day one, we would see some things are a bit different. On the basic info, there is now a generation mode feature and there's a lesson plan template. As the description indicates in the
And I can
generation
just
mode.
I can just chime in here,
Sure.
Tanil, and I will
Yes.
say, can you hear me, Tanil?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so I was just chiming in just to give the rationale. Of course, we know that even if I think my connection is unstable, and I hope you guys are hearing me clearly. But the rationale was that although we're creating a tool that's built for the OHPC, we don't only want to lock it into the OHPC. We want to give it the availability for persons outside of the OHPC environment to be able to use the hub. So we have three options now: OHPC curriculum only, hybrid, and open knowledge, where AI will generate the content using what it understands to be best practices. Over to you.
All right. Okay. So I usually go with the recommended, and that's a hybrid. So we will select hybrid and we'll move on to the lesson plan template. Again, we see this is a new feature and it gives you the option of the mainstream template or the OHPC aligned template. Now, what's the difference, Clendon?
So for the OHPC aligned template, we have a lesson plan template that has been crafted and developed by our curriculum, our teachers and curriculum support officers throughout the pilot region, the pilot states, pilot member states, that they felt and we felt was very appropriate for the region to be able to use, one that they were comfortable with. So you could use that OHPC aligned template, or you could use the mainstream template, which is similar to what you probably get out of ChatGPT or Gemini.
Right. So because we are required to actually use the OECS template, I usually go with the OHPC aligned template, and I would recommend that you do the same. All right. So we are down to subject. I'm a bit biased. My expertise is in social studies. So I'm going to select social studies. And the grade level, let's say grade 4, because I've actually taught grade 4. We're going to enter the topic. Let's try current and past transportation technologies. All right. So after we've entered the topic, we'll move down to the curriculum outcomes. Now, one of the new things about this hub, and we appreciate that the developers actually took these recommendations, they have now actually included the curriculum outcomes as a drop down. So in the past, you had to actually copy and paste or write the curriculum outcomes in the lesson generator. Now you actually have the option of selecting from a list of outcomes. All right, so we have various outcomes here. We have communication technology, transportation evolution. So I'm going to click on transportation evolution. And the knowledge, skills, and values for each component will, of course, pop up. All right, so we have that down. Student count. Let's say the average class was about 20 to 25 persons. Duration, 50 minutes is definitely too long. So let's go 35 minutes. All right. And we click next from here, which takes us to the second set of details, which is very important, the teaching strategies. All right, so pedagogical strategies, let's put some direct instruction, differentiated instruction. We're in social studies, so some culturally responsive teaching. Some cooperative learning is definitely good. And maybe some project-based learning. All right. So we're now on to our learning styles, and I'm going to click almost all of them. You know, there are different learning styles. Definitely, students learn differently. So we have visual, we also have auditory, reading and writing, kinesthetic, social, all right, learning preferences. Another key aspect that we should consider, Selman would have mentioned. Let's go with some individual work, some pair work, and definitely whole class. Now, multiple intelligences, that's an option, but I will just zoom in a bit for you to see some of the different items listed on the multiple intelligences. So you have linguistic, spatial, to interpersonal, to naturalistic, musical, etc. All right, so let's try one. Let's try interpersonal. Custom learning styles. So this is where you describe any other learning styles or preferences in your own words. I would include students should be given an opportunity to engage with technology. course, we have materials. Materials will cover anything like your textbooks, any worksheets, digital tools, etc. Let's try a textbook, our world community. Prerequisite skills. I would stop here and maybe someone can turn on the mic and help me here with this particular component. What prerequisite skills do you think would be needed for students if we're looking at current and past technologies, transportation technologies?
Students already have experienced at least 4 different type of vehicles.
Different types of transportation.
Transportation.
At least 4 different types of transportation. Okay. All right. Other components will be students should have a basic understanding of what is transportation. I can see that working as well. All right. Thank you so much for that. So let's click next. And again, it takes you to the AI chat, but don't worry about that. You just have to scroll up to the top, and we are at our last component, which is the additional details. All right, so the additional details, again, I like this component because it includes special needs, or it caters for special needs students. All right, so we're going to be inclusive here. I don't typically teach persons with special needs, but let's try it out. All right, so we have special needs, and there are a host of accommodations or that will pop up. So we have ADHD, autism, right down to processing disorders. All right.
Let's
So
go
I'm
with
gonna.
ESL.
Hello.
I said let's do ESL, English as a second
ESL.
language.
Okay. All right. That's ADHD is a common one. Autism, I'm noticing some autism is as well. Incidence of autism. Well, sorry, a number of students are being diagnosed with autism. All right, so let's try these. Oh, we cannot forget the gifted and talented students. All right.
Can we do speech as well?
No problem. Speech or language impairment. All right. There are some additional instructions. Reference to any URL. In the interest of time, I would generate a lesson plan here. And let's see what product is produced.
Now, while it's generating, you would notice as well, guys, that not every field is compulsory. Some of them are optional. The ones that are required usually have the red asterisk next to it. Those that are optional are always optional. I mean, if you want to put in more information, you could always go ahead and do that. Now, the generation can take sometimes between a few seconds to a minute. Um, because depending on the number of input fields that you've selected. So here we have our lesson. Back to you.
Right. Yes, so there we go at last. All right. So again, in the interest of time, this is the generated lesson. But of course, when you are generating your lessons, you're not going to stop here. It is critical that you use your expertise, your judgment, you take into consideration all of the factors that we would have mentioned previously, student learning styles, preferences, your local island context, your school context, etc. And you go through the lesson plan and you critique it, all right? Because you will never get a perfect generation, all right? This is where we Now, after we've input the information, we have to now come and scrutinize and align it to our context and our needs. So this is the generated product. And of course, after you've made your edits and adjustments, you have the option so that you can edit here, or you can go to the Pearl chat and you start a conversation. All right, and you use the tips shared by Clendon, how to actually engage with the AI tool to get that enhancement. All right, so again, you could make the changes yourself by clicking on edit and then you save, or you enhance by engaging with the poll chat box. Okay, and after you are
So
satisfied,
Tanil, I think
hello?
someone wants to get access to the lesson plan that was just generated. So
Sure.
you can always make that available
Yeah.
via the chat maybe afterwards.
Right. So I'll also go just to that. So after you've reviewed and it's to your liking, then you would click save. All right. And like I said before, you have the option of saving and downloading and sharing with colleagues if you so see fit. All right. So I'm going to turn you over now to Selma, who will take
Be-
us through the lesson review.
Before you do,
So,
thank you very much, Tanil. That was really good. Before we go over to Selma, we have one of the original architects of what you're seeing, Mr. Emmanuel, Royston Emmanuel, in the room. I see he has his hand up. He has come to say hello and give a contribution. So let me give Royston the floor just to make his contribution.
Thanks, Glendon and Tanil. This was expertly done. So very good job. Just wanted to point out that the planner also actually where you selected the essential learning outcomes and the outcomes, where the content is readily available, the planner will also provide drop downs with the activities and the assessments so teachers can select them as well. And I think that is critical because that means teachers have more control over what actually goes into the lesson plan before it is generated. Thanks, Glendon.
Thank you very much, Royston. Okay, so with that in mind, and I am keeping an eye on both the chat and the time, we will address the questions towards the end. But in the interest of time, we're going to move over to our lesson reviewer tool, innovative tool, and Selma is going to take us through that. So I'm going to now hand over to Selma.
Okay, so good evening again to everybody. Before I begin you going through the lesson reviewer, just let me know, Clendon, can you see the screen? I want to make sure that you're seeing my screen.
Yes, we're seeing the screen. I'm seeing the hub on your screen.
Okay, very good. So a couple of things, just things as we're transitioning into Tanil's presentation. I observed that a particular participant had an open mouth emoji as Tanil was going through the process. And I want to reiterate because a number of our teachers have said that it's comprehensive and it asks a lot. And this is on purpose. We want to say that because when teachers use other AI tools, they're not necessarily putting in, as Clendon said, they don't tell the AI support all what is required, all what we spoke about regarding thinking about your learners, the outcomes, all of these things. This tool is created to keep the teacher in check, if you will, to keep the teacher always thinking about the students and the environment and all of these things. And you will notice that you don't have to type these things in most times. A lot of this, it is already there for you and you just select. So I wanted to say that, okay? So with the lesson reviewer, again, we want to go back. Teachers, you have the expertise. This tool is supporting you, but teachers have a plethora of great lessons that they have been using for years. Their peers have lessons, but or sometimes they're in a particular grade and they have different groups of students. But at its core, the lesson is a good one. However, because we have new students, new environment, new resources, those kinds of things. Sometimes the lesson does not always work well enough for a different group of students. So the lesson reviewer is there for a teacher who has a lesson plan. They like it, but they just want some support to review that lesson. So what you would do is you would go again to the innovative tool, and you will, and Clendon, I noticed somebody was asking about multi-grade, and I wanted to say that we do have a multi-grade planning tool, but you would go through the different tools and you will see, someone was also asking about the content, and you would click on lesson review, okay? You're seeing the proper screen, Clendon? Everybody's
Yes.
in the okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are two things that you need to know. Two ways that you can go about this. You can either upload an existing lesson, or you can copy and paste your lesson into here. Clendon, oh, I was going to ask about a picture, but if you will look, you will see here PDF files only, maximum 10 megabytes. So keep that in mind. So you may have a lesson that's in a Word document. You need to save this as a PDF file before you upload. Or as I said, simply copy and paste your lesson plan in here. So let's do a lesson upload. You click to upload or you drag and drop. So I'm going to upload. And the cool feature about this is when you click to upload, it automatically brings you to your PDF files. When I first tried this, I'm like, but I have a lesson that's downloaded. Why is it I'm not seeing the lesson? And I realized, okay, it is only going to upload PDF files. So it was only showing me my PDF file. So I'm going to select, and like Tanil, I have that bias for social studies. So I'm going to select this existing lesson, social studies grade 5. It will upload. So select the grade 5, select the subject, social studies, duration, again, typically in our context, our social studies lessons are about 35 minutes. Lesson type, this is an introductory lesson, so introduction. So you can either choose whether you want a lesson that's an introduction, if it's a practice lesson, if it's an assessment, if it is a review lesson. So when you have exams coming up, you can do your review lessons and not just have lessons where it is asking students low-level questions. All right. Focus areas. So think about what it is you want to improve in the lesson. So for me, the lesson was good. You can select as many as possible, but sometimes you need to keep it focused. So for me, what I found was lacking was there was not enough differentiation in the lesson. I liked the activities, I liked the assessment, but I did not think that there was enough differentiation in the lesson plan. And I'm going to also click on assessment strategies, but because I think it can be improved a little. But as I said, you can select as many options as you want. Now, here is where you have the additional instructions. It's very important. As Clendon said, and as I articulated in the beginning, this is where you need to set your parameters. Somebody asked about practicing with the 5 points that Clendon used. This is where you can practice that. When you are putting in your instructions, this is where what is it that I want to review? What is it that I do not want? Do I want the AI to keep everything else? Because as Clendon said, sometimes when it regenerates, it can remove things that you liked. So you can tell it what you want to keep, what it is that you would like to take out, what do you want to include. Okay? So think about what the types of learners here. Tell the AI what exactly you want it to differentiate for. Do you want differentiated resources? What are the different groups of students that you have in your classroom? And here's the catch. You can actually ask the AI to assist you with developing proper prompts for what you need. That's the cool thing about AI. So to prepare for this, I did create an AI prompt, and I'm just going to copy and paste because of time. Okay, and I'm going to put this in here. And even this, for me, because AI is also new to me, so my prompts are not the best, but I tried. So I said to the AI, additional instructions, redesign this grade 5 social studies lesson on the role and evolution of media, that's OECS DOHPC, to strengthen differentiation and increase higher order critical thinking. The current lesson includes, and you don't have to put that because it's going to see that, improve these activities by embedding clear tiered strategies for a mixed ability classroom that includes learners who read below grade level. And you can be more specific and tell it if it is 3, if it's 2. They struggle with vocabulary and distinguishing fact from opinion. That one is a major issue in our society. On-level learners can summarize and identify obvious facts and opinion, but they can benefit from structured discussion. I may have issues as a teacher with having structured discussions with my students. Advanced learners can infer bias, they can compare perspectives and engage in evaluative thinking. Now, I asked the AI to help me with the prompt so that I can improve it. But you don't have to be as technical and as thorough as this, although the more you can tell the AI, the better. English language learners need vocabulary scaffolds and sentence stems. And I also have highly active kinesthetic learners who engage best through movement, simulation, or role play. And I want the AI to use real world resources. So I don't want, just any type of resources. And you could add even more. And then we hit generate comprehensive review. And let's see what will happen.
Now, while we're waiting, one of the things that we'll do quickly is, I think in our continued improvements on the hub, one of the things we will do with the reviewer is not only have it to be able to accept the PDFs. I think it would be a lot more useful for us if we were able to upload Word documents. So I think that's something that we can enable. It's not a difficult process. So that would make it even better because it means that most persons would not have to convert their lesson plans into PDFs. I know that can be challenging for some people. Yeah, so it make it more inclusive. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So if you look, you will see that the AI has given me very, very comprehensive feedback on my lesson, because this is a feedback tool to review your lesson. It's a colleague that is knowledgeable and or a support person, a coach that is going to help you to improve your lesson. So overall assessment, the lesson plan provides a solid foundation for introducing fifth grade students to the role and evolution of media. However, it requires enhancements in differentiation and assessment strategies to cater to diverse learners effectively. The primary strengths: engaging activities such as scavenger hunts and picture inferencing. They promote active learning. Clear learning objectives align well with the curriculum outcome. Critical areas needing attention: there is a lack of tiered differentiation strategies for mixed ability classrooms. And I know this is one that is hard for teachers, a lot of teachers. Assessment methods are not sufficiently robust or varied to measure all students' understanding. Content accuracy, concerns requiring verification, ensure that the definition of media incorporates contemporary forms like podcasts and streaming services, right? So you may have not thought of these because maybe they're not part of your own experience, and the AI says you could improve it with these. Verify the accuracy of the video resource and its alignment with the lesson's objective. Recommendations: update the definition of media to include a broader range of current forms and consider adding recent examples or case studies to illustrate media evolution. Age appropriateness, it tells us that the developmental level is appropriate for fifth graders, but again, it can be enhanced. Vocabulary is generally suitable, though some terms may need simplification for struggling readers. Specific considerations include visual aids and vocabulary lists to support English language learners and struggling readers. The lesson, and I will not go through all of them. Again, here it tells you, let's look at the detailed suggestions for improvement. Recommendation: implement tiered activities that cater to different learning levels. So for example, create a tiered scavenger hunt where struggling readers find and define simpler media forms while advanced learners analyze the impact of media on society. And there are suggestions for your assessment techniques and your conclusion. So it reviews the lesson and it tells you how to improve the lesson. Okay? So, Clinton, anything you want to add?
No, for the reviewer, I think you covered it amazingly well. The comprehensiveness, the comprehensive nature of the review it gives is just what we wanted, and we wanted to have engineered in. So I mean, with your presentation, I think we have covered. We have a lot of questions in the chat that I think we may need to address. So
Yes.
thank you, Selma. Thank you so very much to Neil and Selma for taking us through these tools. I know that we seem to be rushing a bit because, of course, we did say it was 1 hour and we're now at 1 hour and 26 minutes. But I do hope that a lot of it, the time is worthwhile and a lot of us are feeling like, it was worth the time. I'm just going to go through very quickly the chat. And yes, the sessions are going to be recorded. They're going to be made available on the very same link that I shared in for the registration registrants. If you did not or do not have it, I'm going to drop it in the chat again right now. So that page is our webinar page. So you can access it. I'm going to, yes? Okay, I thought somebody was saying something. So let me see what else we have in the chat.
You want me to go through the questions for you, Glendon, and then you just answer?
Sure. I mean, I'm reading it, but go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, that's
okay. Does it have to be a Gmail account or can any other type of email be used?
right. So we addressed, I think I addressed that earlier. It doesn't have to be a Gmail account. If you can use, once it's an active email account, you can use it. However, for the Gmail sign-in, it would have to be a Google Workspace account. And I also mentioned that some schools and some teachers would have emails. You would notice that you use Gmail to sign in, even if it doesn't say @gmail.com. So if you use the Google Workspace email, you would be able to sign in with the Gmail feature on the Learning Hub.
Is it limited to primary school?
No. The Learning Hub, it's not the innovative tools on the hub, as you would have seen, are not just limited to primary schools. If you take the time and you go through perhaps the lesson planner, you will realize that from the onset, we have the 3 types of frameworks for the lesson planning, the OHPC aligned and the non-OHPC aligned ones. So in terms of the generation of lesson plans, I think it would be suitable all the way up to lower secondary, probably Form 1, maybe Form 2. But it's not just limited to just the primary schools.
Yes, somebody was asking about content.
All right,
they noticed that,
wonderful.
yes.
So it's good that they asked that question. In the flyer that was sent out, you would notice that we intend to have 3 more webinars. And one of the webinars, webinar 3, which happens in April, on April 22nd, is actually about creating interactive resources. And in this particular webinar, we're going to be focusing on one particular tool on the Learning Hub, which is our H5P content creator. So that's definitely a save the date for anyone interested in content creation. You can definitely tune in for that one, creating interactive resources, on April 22nd, where we're going to look at our content creator. The thing about it as well, and I need to mention, sorry, Selma, is that when it comes to content creation, there is a bit of a gap, a content gap with our educators, with our teachers. And that would have been one of the reasons why, the team, Royston, myself, and the other guys, that tool was put together to address that gap. So we're now saying to teachers, here you have this content creation tool, which allows you to create wonderful HTML5 resources that are interactive and can be used in your classrooms.
Okay, and also, Clendon, to the poll, you can also, in the additional instructions, ask it for grade level content for different tiers, etc.
Very true. Very true.
Now, somebody says, in my opinion, it doesn't cater for new teachers, but they did not elaborate. So I don't know if they would want to add some more to that, because my thinking is that it would assist the new teacher.
what they're talking about.
Go ahead.
But go ahead.
Okay, if PDF is
you're breaking up a little bit.
or somebody, sorry, you checked that one already. Okay.
Yeah, the catering for new teachers, I think that concern would have arisen from when we were selecting some of the options for the lesson planner, when it looked at things like the multiple intelligences, when we were looking at the types of learners, etc. And we would establish that not every teacher may have gone through the qualification process in terms of being taught the full pedagogy of teaching. So that may actually have been a concern that someone have. And it's a valid concern, but that's why there's always the concept of peer learning, peer teaching, helping each other. So new teachers can always lean on the more experienced ones for that kind of input and insight.
Brendan, Selma, can I jump in on that one too, if it's okay?
Sure.
Yes, please,
Okay, so
Royston.
there are two ways we looked at how
You're breaking up, Royston. You're not clear.
Okay, you hear me? Is that better? No?
Yes, that's better, much better.
Okay, in the lesson planner, for instance, you have the hint or the help button, a little question mark for the more difficult concepts. So if you go to special needs and you click the question mark, that icon, you will get a modal, a window will open where that explains each of the special needs to help teachers understand them better. On the other thing, you have to look to the right. There is the AI assistant. That AI assistant is not just an assistant that says where to find what on the platform, but it's also an assistant for the teacher in understanding the concepts as well. So the teacher can just go to the right, click on Pearl and ask Pearl, okay? If I don't understand what is spatial bodily kinesthetic learning style, I can ask that right there. So it actually was developed with that in mind, new teachers as well. But I guess the onus is on us to help teachers understand, how do I get support? How do I get help as I go through the process? Thanks.
Clinton, somebody wants to know, they lost connection, so where can they get the link for the recording?
All right, so the link for the recording will be made available on our Learning Hub webinar page. I dropped it in the chat. Let me drop it again, just in case it's scrolled up a little too fast. So it's not going to be available tonight, but by the end of day tomorrow, we should have that video up on the page under the webinar 1 content.
And
so we'll take.
Do they need to register for the other webinars? And I think
All
that's
right.
about
So
it.
yeah, if you've registered already, your registration is valid for all of the webinars. So once the webinar is coming up, you will get your email with the link. The links will be sent to you, and then you will be able to access on the evening. We're going to explore options so that we can cater to many more persons in the Zoom. Unfortunately, we have a corporate cap limit of 300. And that was a little bit of an oversight, but we're going to explore what options we have available to us for the other webinars. And just to reiterate, we have 3 other webinars coming up. We try to space them out. We have webinar 2, which looks at assessment and data tools, where you can create quizzes, rubrics, and track student progress. We also have creating interactive resources, April 22nd. And in May, we have collaborative work and sharing. The work continues on the hub. We're grinding through, trying to take all the feedback that we have. Persons like Royston and myself are working tirelessly to be able to continue. Although Royston is on other projects, he still remains with us. I can't even say in spirit, but in physical form as well. So he does provide very, very valuable input, insights, and efforts into the assisting of what's going on. And then we also have some other members of the team who are working on the AI components as well to make them even more useful to you.
We have one
Yes.
last question though. How many lesson plans can you make in one day?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't even think I have an answer for that one. That's an
I
interesting
do.
question.
I do.
You do? Okay, go ahead.
There is no rate limiting for now. Okay. So, but it is being implemented. So the idea is that teachers have 4 core subjects. We're allowing them 8 lesson plans for the day. Hope this
Okay.
helps.
Thank you, Royston. Thank you.
Question, that does not include iterations on the same lesson though, right?
No, on
No, it
same
doesn't.
lesson plans.
No.
Wait, okay.
All right.
So
So
another question in the chat.
uh-huh.
If PDF is non-optional, can the upload be done from Google Docs?
Say that again. You broke up a little bit in the end.
Somebody's asking if PDF is non-optional, can the upload be done from Google Docs?
Currently the feature for uploading directly from Google Docs is not available. But we're going to definitely look into that for sure. And I have to say, anytime that we've demoed or we've done our interactions like these, we always get a lot of feedback. And the feedback that we get is particularly useful for us to then go back with things that we have heard from you that would be more useful. Again, we would not think of everything. And this is all part of our user accessibility testing, our testing for the users. So as we go through, this is what leads us to make more useful changes. So uploading from Google Docs, uploading DocX or Microsoft Word documents, uploading PDFs, those things are all on the docket through the recording that we have and the notes that will come out for us from this recording. Okay?
Clendon, persons are
Yes?
inquiring about demos for the other tools, the multi-grade planner, the
Right.
kindergarten planner. Okay.
Yes. So the impetus for us now, since we don't have, the time to do every single tool, what we're going to be working on is to create recorded resources, very brief walkthroughs through the various tools so that you would be able to access. There are some video resources already on the platform. So let me see if I could make sure that I direct you. I'm not sure, I can't remember whether we have one for the multi-grade planner, Royston, but our resources for help are definitely on the platform under the help page. So in the link, you will see a help page, and in the navigation bar at the top, you will see a help link. And then you will be able to find more assistance and resources for helping you to go through multi-grade teaching, etc., and so on. But we're definitely going to be working on the creation of training content, short form content that you can use to just simply guide you through the lesson planning through the general lesson planner, the kindergarten planner, and the multi-grade planner. And we'll make that available to you. And I see a question here, would we be looking to integrate the CSEC curriculum into the hub? No, we would. Remember at the beginning, I said that it was originally, and it has been built as part of our Pearl project, to be a vehicle and a transport for the new OHPC, the OECS Harmonized Primary Curriculum. So in terms of very good idea. I don't know if that may actually come to fruition, but I think we have some great minds within the ADMU that may be hearing this and beginning to grind. So thank you for the suggestion, however. Okay, guys.
Can I add, Clennon?
So
I
yeah, go
just
ahead.
want to add that this tool could be useful for the lower secondary because some of the content, especially in the social studies, the mathematics and the language arts, may in fact be the same content covered in lower secondary. So it may not be applicable to CSEC, but definitely lower secondary teachers can utilize the tool.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
As an exit slip for us, I do have an evaluation for you guys. Oh, by the way, sorry, Tanil. I saw you flashing it on screen several times. We have an extension activity that we would like you to do for us. Those of you who are still here, who have attended, those of you in the watching the recording. And that activity simply asked you to select one innovation tool that we looked at today, the lesson plan or the lesson plan reviewer. Use the tool independently, explore its features, its functions, and then now you will reflect on your experience using the tool. And we have some guidelines for your reflection. So consider, what did you enjoy most about the tool? What challenges did you encounter? How might this tool benefit your work? If you could change or add anything, what would it be and why? And then you will share. Now, where are you going to share? If you go to that very same webinar page that I posted in the chat, and I'm going to post it again. All right. Maybe I can just paste it here. That same webinar page, if you go to that page, you will see that there is a form. Maybe I should just share it, because let me share it so persons will see. I know we're pushing on people's dinner time here. Tanya, let me just share my screen. All right. So if you can see my screen and you go down to session 1 extension activity, the activity has been put here in this format. So select, choose one innovation tool, the lesson planner or the lesson reviewer, experiment, use the tool independently, record your experience, and then share. Where will you submit it? You can submit it right here. So you could put in your full name, your email address, select the tool that you use, and you can write your experience summary here. If you feel so moved and you want to make it exciting, you could also attach a file or a very short video. Now you can upload your content here. Why video? Sometimes it helps to have those, those for testimonials. Later on, we may write to you and say, hey, your video really stood out to us and we wanted to use it as a testimonial later on. Which is why you would put in your email address and everything. So since this is a public facing link, the page is available without logging in. You can go in, you can put in your name, your email address, which of the tools you use. We will have an extension activity like this, where you would share something, a question or something going forward that you will reflect and share on. And then we can discuss, or we can get that sort of feedback from you. Finally, to close, I'm going to share our evaluation form. And let me just make sure that anyone with the link can respond. So I'm going to share it here. Right. Publish. Okay, and I'm going to paste it right here. Apologies, I was just changing some of the settings on the form because I realized that it was complete. So this is our exit ticket, our evaluation form. You can copy it, paste it into your browser, or just click on the link. Please, provide your feedback. Okay, it's just how many questions? 5 questions, just to let us know how you feel about session 1 today. And we would really appreciate your feedback. Thank you for those persons who have provided their feedback today. I really enjoyed this. It succeeded way past my expectations. I am so happy that 234 persons have stayed on 47 minutes after close time. But we're happy and we feel that this has been very worthwhile for getting the message out there that the Learning Hub is available and ready for you to use. We will continue working and tweaking as we go on. Selma, Tanil, is there anything that I have forgotten to mention?
I think you did. I think that's it.
All right. So, and thank you to Selma and Tanil. Your support has been really, really, really valuable in this. And as we continue to go along, those of you who join us for the other webinars will continue to interact with even more of our dynamic facilitators and curriculum support officers and educators that we have for the other webinars. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying with us this long. The recording will be available once it is available, you will be notified via email and you can share with your peers. Thank you so much for your attendance this evening and see you in the next one.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks
Great
again.
job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you. Good
welcome.
evening.
You're welcome. Good evening.
It was very successful. I enjoyed it tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good evening. I quite enjoyed it as well. It was beautiful. The demonstrations, everything was very clear. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. We
Enjoyed it.
appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
very much. I
you.
started using that tool some
Thank you,
time back,
everybody.
and I've been
It was
getting
great.
really good help with my lesson plans.
Yeah, thank you,
All right. Wonderful. That's what we want.
everybody.
Very informative session. Thank you.
Thank you.